Hey everyone and welcome back. Now in today's video we'll be discussing about the rotation of the Gossip Encryption keys in Consul. Now as part of a compliance as well as the security best practice, it is important that we regularly rotate our encryption key. So for example, you have a Consul server and you have two Consul client and you have added the encrypt parameter within the configuration and things are working pretty fine. So it has been a year and as part of your best practice or even various compliance states that the keys must be rotated. So after 1 year you have to rotate the keys. Now one of the question that comes is you can directly go ahead and change the configuration file with these specific keys and that should work, but that will not work. So if you change the configuration file directly by updating the new encryption keys, it will not really work. We'll be discussing on why that will not work at the end of the video to keep things more interesting. So let's look into the overall steps that are required in rotating the Gossip Encryption keys. Now, the Consul keyring command is used to examine and modify the encryption keys used within the Consul Gossip protocol. So if you do a Consul keyring -list, it will show you the list of keys that are available for the Gossip encryption for both the LAN as well as the WAN environments. Now, the Consul keyring itself is capable of distributing new set of encryption keys to the agent, retiring the old encryption keys and changing the keys used by the agents to encrypt the message. So this is a really great tool that allows a lot of flexibility related to this. So let's look into the 4 primary steps that are involved. First step is you have to generate a new set of encryption key. Second is you add that new key to the keyring. Third is you promote the new key to the primary. Fourth step is you remove the older key. So the step 1 is to generate the new encryption key. So you can easily generate it with the Consul keygen command and you will get a new set of encryption key here. The second step is to go ahead and add that encryption key to the keyring. So now here you will see that the key that starts with ER, so that is the older encryption key, and with the help of Consul keyring -install, you have installed the new set of encryption key. After you have installed a new set of encryption key, the Consul keyring will go ahead and distribute that key to all of the agents. And after that, you can go ahead and set the new encryption key to primary. So the command is Consul keyring -use and you specify the new set of key. Once the new key is being actively used, you can go ahead and remove the older set of encryption key. So these are the 4 steps. Let's quickly go ahead and do it practically, post which we'll be discussing about things in more detail. So going to the CLI, if I'll do Consul members over here, you should see that I have 2 members. One is acting as a server and second is acting as a client. Now if I'll quickly also show you the consul.hcl of a server, you should see that we have a encrypt parameter which has the specific symmetric key. And even for the Consul client, if I'll do a cat on consul.hcl, again here you should see that I have an encrypt parameter with the exact same symmetric key. So the overall encryption is working perfectly well over Gossip. Now, when you do a Consul keyring -list, you should see that the key that we have available within the configuration file, the same key we are seeing that is being used over the WAN environment as well as the LAN environment for the data center. So this is the key. So as we are discussing, let's assume that we want to rotate this key with a new key. So the first step is to generate the new encryption key. So in order to do that, you have to run the command Consul keygen. So I'll say Consul keygen. And now we have a new set of encryption key that is available. The second step is you have to add that key within the keyring. So you can say Consul keyring -install followed by the new key that has been generated. So it states that installing the new Gossip encryption key. So when you do a Consul keyring -list, you should see that there are 2 keys that are available here. The step 3 is to go ahead and promote the new key to be the primary. So as of now, the first key, which was the older one, is being used as the primary, but now we want to use the second newly generated key as a primary. Now do note that here it is stating 2 out of 2, primarily because we have a total of two agents. One is in the server mode and second is within the client mode in the data center of LAN. So to promote the new key to the primary, you have to make use of Consul keyring -use followed by the new key. So let's say Consul keyring -use. Let's copy the new key over here and I'll paste it here. So it states changing the primary Gossip Encryption key, and the fourth step is to remove the old key from the keyring. So the command is Consul keyring remove followed by the key. So let's say Consul keyring remove and I'll specify the first key here. And that's great. That's about it. So now if you do a Consul keyring -list, you should see that there is only one key that is available. So now both the server and the client are communicating with this specific key. So if you just want to verify if things are successful, you can just do a Consul members to see if you're able to see both of them. And even if you want to verify via the GUI, you should see that the GUI is working perfectly. And currently you are able to see both the nodes here. Now comes the interesting part. Now one important thing that you should know, that after a client has joined the server by specifying the encrypt, even if you remove this encrypt parameter from the configuration file, it will have no impact. Now, one of the question that comes is, alright, the new key has been installed. So here we see that there is a new key that is installed here. But within the configuration file, you still have the older key in both the server and the client. So what will happen if you restart it? Now, one of the things that is assumed is that if you restart your Consul agent, it will go ahead and again use the older encryption key, which was part of the configuration file. However, that is not the case. So let's quickly verify. So if I do a systemctl restart Consul, so it has been restarted. Now if you do a Consul members, again you see our Consul client was able to immediately join back. Now the question is why? So one of the things that looks out of the box is that if you have this encryption key, then this is the one that is being used, but that is not always the case. Let's look into it in more detail. Now, the encrypt parameter that we add as part of the configuration file is needed only at the join time. And after that, the agent will persist whatever data it needs within the local keyring. So if you later remove the encrypt parameter from your configuration file, it will have no impact at all. So the encrypt parameter, it's only primarily needed during the join time. Let's look into it. So within the Consul client, let's open up the consul.hcl file and let me go ahead and remove the encrypt parameter altogether. I'll go ahead and I'll do a systemctl restart on Consul. Now if you quickly refresh the nodes here, you should see that both the Consul02 and the Consul server are still available. So even though you have removed the encrypt parameter, it does not really have any effect. As we were discussing, it is primarily needed only at the join time. Now, the second part of the first sentence is very important, that the agent will persist whatever data it needs within the local keyring. And this is an important part. So whatever new key of Gossip Encryption that you have, it will stay in the local keyring under the data directory that you have specified. In our case, the data directory is etc consul.d consul-dir. So this is our data directory. Let's quickly go here. And within here, there is a directory of surf. Let's quickly go here. And within here, you have a file called as local.keyring. So when you do a cat on local.keyring, this file contains the latest set of encryption keys. So I hope at a high level overview, you understood on how things work behind the scenes, specifically for the Gossip Encryption. Let's go ahead and generate one more key. And let's go ahead and install that key within the keyring. So when you do a consul keyring hyphen list, you should see that the new key is propagated to both the agents that are part of the cluster. So when you see this, it basically means that the new key has been added as part of the local keyring in both the agents that are part of the cluster. So for example, now if you again do a cat on local.keyring, you should see that there are two keys that are available over here. And this is what the install basically means. That's great. So I hope with this you got a better clarity on how the gossip encryption keys are managed within the console.